thought today it's another bodmin scene actually, like yesterday, but a little bit different composition this time there. This is just clean water, and then I'm going to go a little bit of raw sienna, just to kick-start things off, a bit of burnt umber mixed into that as well. Bring that down to the bottom of the page, just gives it sort of background, bit of colour. And I'm going to go a bit of burnt umber, bit of ultramarine, just dipping the tips of the hairs in the water there just to loosen it all up. A bit more blue. There's going to be a house here, so I want to keep that bit fairly light, just so you can see the profile of the roof. Now, a bit of brown. All looks a bit of a mess at the moment, but hopefully it'll come together. A bit more burnt umber, bit of blue, some up there. And what I'm going to do is take the tissue. Now the house is going to be about here somewhere, so I won't be able to see that roof, so I'm just going to put some cloud in a sort of strategically convenient place. A few trees there, so I want to be able to see the branches nicely against the sky, so let's just lighten out a little bit. That'll do. I ain't going to mess about it too much. Now, just about see the land stretching out right to the horizon. I say just about see, I mean you can see very little actually as it happens, so I'm just going to sort of do that and not a fat lot more really. Maybe just try and just define a few fields, a few edges separating the fields. That's all I'm going to do, no more than that. Right, next I'm going to put the house in. So I want to go dark, so sort of silhouetting against the sort of bright sky, bright airy section of the sky. So I'm going to go burnt umber, ultramarine, a really dark colour. And I'm going to start somewhere like that. There's the roof. Got a stray head on the brush there, so I'm just going to pull him off. Stick it out of the way. A bit more paint on the brush. And then that comes, just popping in the rest of the roof like that. And that comes down. About like that. And that comes down about like that. And there's also another little building just in front of it. Something like that. And that comes down. And there's like a little outhouse or something over it. I could do with using a smaller brush really for this, but I tend to use the axe to do absolutely everything really. Little outhouse there, and then what I might do first, paper has stretched slightly, so I'm just going to pull that tight and refix it with these clips. It's just clipped to a 9mm piece of plywood, so I'll be steady, and that's just leaning against an easel upright. You don't have to paint like this almost 90 degrees, you can put yours a lot flatter if you like, it just suits the video camera, because otherwise I'd have to have the camera right overhead, which would be a right pain. You have to be fixed to the ceiling, so I tend to do it like this. Forgot to put the chimney, so I've got a chimney, some sort of like that. Actually, let's put the There's like a little wall there. And that continues. Like a little gap there. To walk through. And this, like a little stone wall, it just sort of drifts off into the distance. And just a little bit there as well. I'm just popping in some sort of darky shadows in there, just getting them in while I've got the dark on my brush. Just a bit more there. I just want to get them really dark, just so it. Right, now, I'm just going to take it's just a plastic card really. This was from Game, a loyalty card. And then what I'm going to do is just, you can imagine the sort of lights just catching the top of these. These stones here in the wall. And the same, you can do it all the way along here. Obviously as this is really far away, they're only going to look tiny and they're going to get bigger and bigger as they get closer and closer. Just a little bit more. And then all down there, just want to keep it predominantly dark, but just a hint of something there in the wall. Oh, did that way too big. Well, now the light's sort of there, so this wall here would be darker, so let's just put that in there while it's just dried slightly. So don't try and do this while it's still wet, wait for it to dry a bit and then do it doing darker. Also this bit there is a bit darker. Darker than the rest. And we've got some couple of little windows there. Just a hint of a frame in there. A little porch roof thing there coming out. So I'm just using the card just to suggest a few little details here on the building, not too much. Just a little bit here and there. Maybe just try and show this roof line a little bit better. And same on this side. I don't want to do any more than that. Now I'm going to switch to the little brush. Plenty of water. I'm going to go burnt umber, ultramarine, and then over here. Over there we've got our big trees. Plenty of water for this because otherwise it won't brush brush strokes won't last very long. Just make that a little bit thicker. That's good enough. And next to that there's another tree. So again, I want plenty of water on this brush. Otherwise you're just constantly reloading it. Another tree, about like that. Nice and thick down the bottom and then more water. Just keep reloading it as much as you need. Nearly done there. I ain't going to do much more than this. I think that'll do for it. Just checking this. So I've got some on there. What I'm going to do is just take a bit of this off on the tissue. A bit of this dark colour and then just very, very light. Suggesting all the little tiny twigs at the end of the branches. That'll do. I'm not going to do any more. Now I want it the other side of the wall, so I'm just going to scrape a bit out there. So it looks as if it's behind the wall. So that's our two trees. Let's have a little figure. Just needs a little figure somewhere. And what a perfect place, just right there in the gap where you can walk through. So I'm going to do him really dark, sort of silhouetted, about that big. Let's do a little dog. Dog down there, and then imagine the light's coming this way, so it just needs shadow there. Now just a bit of land here. I'm just going to sort of build up a little path or something there. Now I've done this though. Anyway, I'll come back to that. Sort of take the path out. Take the path out like that. Let's just push up slightly. Try and define that path a bit. I think let's just put a little bird, just to finish it off. Again, just a bit of burnt umber and ultramarine, just really dark colour. Just bring it to a fine point. And where should we put the bird? Somewhere up there, I think. Oh, hang on, that's too dry. Bit wetter, a bit more water. That'll do. And then last but not least, I'm just going to put my name. Is that dry there? It's not quite dry. It's not dry. I'm going to have to get the air dryer out. Pop your name in the corner and then we're finished. So let's see what it looks like with the mount on. So this is the finished painting, so let's go and have a closer look at it. The sky is predominantly sort of Payne's grey, a little ultramarine and a bit of burnt umber in there. And this raw sienna, sort of the light trying to burst through. Remember I said I was going to put in some clouds, just so that you could see the profile of the house, make it stand out better. Just about to see the distant fields with the hedgerows there dividing the fields up. You can see how sort of hit and miss, unpainted bits of paper, it really helps sort of create that sort of light and shadowy effect. Little figure with his dog there, just in that gateway there, waiting to walk forward to this house. Just suggested a few little window panes there in these windows. Light's coming through. See, this part of the building would be darker. Same with here, sort of darker than the rest of it, which is catching some of the light. Stone wall here, just scraped a few little stones. Again, just try and look as if the light's catching the top of the wall, the stones there. I mean, this path, you couldn't do it any easier really. It was just using a damp, clean hake, just taking the paint off really, as it leads nicely to the gateway. The trees put into a sort of lighter part of the sky to help them stand out. Now before I go, I thought I'd answer some of your questions. Now I've written some of them down here. Now I meant to start doing this actually last summer. So I'll start with the oldest ones, and then hopefully as the videos progress I'll catch up with some of the latest questions. Now Kaylee Sutherland asks, do you stretch your paper? I know a lot of people do stretch the paper before they start painting. Personally, I just clip it. I mean, I just buy it like this in packs of 100 and just clip it straight to the board. And then generally what I do is wet it all over first, and then by the time the sky and the background's in, it's stretched pretty much as far as it's going to. You can stretch it before if you want, it's entirely up to you, it's whatever you feel comfortable with really. She also asks now, what are the clips for? Now that's again part of the same process. I use these bulldog clips, and then it's simply a case of, see, some people pre-stretch it and then they'll use masking tape to stick it to the board, whatever they're using. I just use these clips because all I've got to do is unclip it then, pull it tight, and refix it. You've seen me do that a million times if you've watched, if you're a regular viewer. And then she also asks, what sort of board are you painting on? This is just 9mm piece of plywood. I cut it, it was bigger than this, but I cut it so that it was just the right size, so that I could just take a piece of paper, just the right width basically. It doesn't matter how tall it is, But as long as it's just the right width, and so you can get your clips on either side and fix it to the board, and then that's not going to go anywhere then. So I hope that cleared that up for you, Kaylee. Bambi Baby 05 asks, is it better to squeeze out paint the night before or use straight from the tube? Now, when I first started, I used to watch a lot of Frank Clark, and I used to just basically do exactly the same as him. You just squeeze it out. I think like most artists do, they'll squeeze it out and use it wet, fresh on the palette. Now what I found was, after a while, obviously the paint will dry, and so you end up with a load of wasted paint. I got tired of just scraping the paint off every day and then having to re-squeeze it all out. So rather than waste the paint, I thought, well, why not just use it dry on the palettes, which is now what I do. So all it's, honestly, even though that's dry now, once you've gone over it with a damp brush, it soon loosens it up, and you're away like. So that's how I do it. But then again, at some stage I probably will start using it fresh from the tube, because it is more exciting really to use it fresh, because you can get it up in great big dollops and just slap it on almost like oil paint. So again, I might try using it fresh at some stage, but for the time being I'll just carry on with this little method, I think. And they also ask, why is watercolour so hard? I think it's the same with any craft, whether you're learning to play the piano, paint, lay bricks. It just boils down to practice. I say it so many times, just practice, practice, practice. People say, oh, I've done a couple of paintings, why don't they look as nice as yours? Well, I mean, I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, it's got to be over 1,000 paintings since I started doing it. So I try and paint about an hour a day, something like that. In which, I'll probably get, I used to try and rush through them, but now I'm trying to just slow down slightly and go with quality rather than quantity. I hope that's reflected. Mind you, I know this one, like most, I never spend more than 10-15 minutes, but maybe I will just slow down, just and try and get the tones better, just great contrast, get some nicer compositions. But like I say, why is watercolour so hard? I know it is difficult, but it's just practice really, just like anything else. May Zidane, I hope I pronounced that right. Can I learn watercolour painting on my own, or should I take classes? No, I've never took a class in my life. I finished school, did art at school, and then I think I was 35. So I went almost 20 years without painting, and then I suddenly basically saw I'd like watching artists and thought I'd have a go at it. Found like a little watercolour painting set, beginner's set on in a car boot sale down Breen. Gave it a go, and then I've just used Frank Clark, Ron Ransom. They were the two main ones. Bob Ross. I've tried to bring some techniques in from other, not just watercolour, like some Bob Ross, the way he used to paint. Try and bring that into watercolour, because I think you can, use techniques across different mediums. So, my advice would be to do both. Do both. Practice on your own, and maybe take some classes, or join a club. Or I think it's certainly not going to do you any harm to paint with other people in a class, and you will help each other. I might even try doing it myself one day. Robert Jones asks, do you ever use artist quality paint? I never have done. I've got the same setup from when I first started watching Ron Ransom. I only ever use these Cotman watercolours, basically because they're cheap. They're about £3 for a 21mm tube. I think one of the problems is because they're just like fast, loose impressions, and I just sell them cheap on eBay. I'm a bit reluctant to use expensive materials. If they were going in galleries and I wanted to spend a lot longer on them to make them better, then maybe I would use artist qualities. But for now, especially, I've sort of tailored my style for these videos. You know, some people spend days on a painting, but because I want to show the whole process from start to finish, I've tried to make my technique as quick and as loose as I possibly can, so I can get the whole painting into like a 20-minute video, so you can see the whole process from beginning to end. So consequently, in terms of selling them, they don't go for much. Hence, I'm reluctant to spend a lot of money on materials. So that's the reason why. If I started doing galleries or doing art shows or craft fairs, maybe I would try using better quality materials. But for now, I'm happy just doing it the way I am. And for now, the final question for now, from MN Iron Ranger: how do I paint the Aurora Borealis or the Northern Lights? Honest answer, I haven't got a clue. I've never tried anything like that. Sorry I can't be any more helpful. That'd be a challenge for the future, but for now I honestly don't know. I'd have to have a go at that and see what happened. Well, thanks for watching anyway. Like I always say, keep practicing, keep your questions coming, and I'll see you again soon.